It's all gone almost. And I need more chicken broth. And I was thinking, well, you know what? I've got that leftover rotisserie chicken bones right here. And I'm thinking, well, maybe we can make our own broth. What do you think? So first thing we got to do is we got to do the prepping. And Harry's like, come on guys, let's get the prepping. So it's actually very simple what we're going to use. We're going to use an onion and we're going to quarter it. And we're going to use all of this. All the skin, everything. That's all we're doing. That's it. Your onions are done. That's all you got to do. And so we're going to use a combination of some black pepper. I would recommend using peppercorns, but this is what we had. And I'm going to use 1 bay leaf. I'm going to use about 4 cloves of garlic. And then you might be wondering, why are you going to put vinegar into the chicken broth? Well, what the vinegar is going to do is it's going to help break down the meat off the bones. And it's going to help kind of make the flavor really happen. It's kind of like a marriage made in heaven. It's going to peel away all those things from the bone because we really want the flavor coming from the bone.
It's not every day that I cook in my fireplace inside, but when I do, I make sure to use my Bubba skillet. Smells good.
So in our pot, we have exactly 12 cups of cold water. That's it. It's 12 cups of cold water. We're going to go ahead and add all these onions in here first. And again, you got to remember, we want broth. So all this is, we're going to strain all this in the end to get it all out. So then I'm going to go ahead and put our leftover, the idea is you want to keep the chicken in the pan. And here's the good thing about this. If you have any leftover like chicken at all, like that's on the bone, instead of throwing the bones out, just keep the bones. And then you can actually use that to make your own broth. So now we're going to go ahead and put a tablespoon of vinegar. I would recommend using apple cider vinegar if you have that, but we didn't. So I'm just using regular white vinegar, which will be fine. And same thing with the pepper. If you have peppercorns, that would be the way to go. But we're just going to kind of eyeball it because we want that to kick a little bit. And so now we're going to use that garlic. That's about 4 cloves. So we're going to do that. Get this out of the way. So now all we're going to do is we're going to bring this to a boil and we're going to let this simmer. So my recommendation is if you want to make soup later in the day, you do this while you're doing other things early. That way it's ready, because this is going to take probably about 3 to 4 hours in total to make by the time you simmer it and just because you want to get all the flavors from that chicken bone. And those onions and everything, baby, it's going to be some good eating.
Some say the spoon is what is magical. I say it's my Bubba skillet that is. Ha ha, magicus among us.
Now look at that beauty right there. You got her to a rolling boil. I don't know if you can hear that. So now that we have that, we're going to move on to the next step. This beauty right here percolating. And you can already see the meat starting to come off the bones. One thing me and Harry wanted to tell you is ideally this recipe, I would want carrots and celery. That's typical chicken broth, but we didn't have those. So we're just kind of winging it. And again, winging it, chicken, wing. Sorry, bad joke. Anyway, so we're just gonna use what we have. That's the idea. So if you have some other leftover vegetables that the flavors might go along with the chicken broth, you can do whatever you want. That's a great thing about cooking. So we're gonna let this simmer. I'm gonna turn down the heat. And one thing I will say is if you don't have a cast iron Dutch oven, you can use any pan, but you see, I want that lip. I want it to be able to discard some of that steam because again, we're wanting to make a broth. So if we want to make a broth, we need to cook off some of that water. We started with 12 cups of water. The idea is that we're going to end up with around 8 cups of broth. So while we're letting this simmer, we're going to take a commercial break.
Guys in my bowling league didn't believe I could cook, so I brought my Bubba skillet and showed them my skills.
And they looked impressed, huh?
Another thing I wanted to add is if you don't have a Dutch oven, you can use, or a cast iron Dutch oven, you can use an enameled Dutch oven if you have that. I think a Dutch oven for chicken broth is ideal, But if you don't, if you have like a big pot, I mean, that's all that matters. I mean, you just need something that has a lid, something deep enough that you can fill it with at least 12 cups of water. We have everything in here ready to simmer and do its thing. The idea is we're going to let this go for about, like I said, about 3.5, 4 hours in total. So we're going to come back and we're going to check on it in intervals of 30 minutes. Now, one thing I will mention is over the duration of this process, you're going to start to have some foam residue on top, and hopefully in a little while I can show you. You can skim that off if you want, but for this recipe, we're not going to do that. We're not going to skim anything off. We're going to keep everything in this beauty right here. So, in the meantime, let's hear a word from our sponsor.
There is nothing more electric than cooking with my Bubba skillet. Oh yeah, baby!
So it's been about 4 hours, and I know I told you earlier, 4 hours, you're like, oh my goodness. But guess what? We didn't have to do anything. We just let this baby set all by itself. Now, take a gander at this. And old Harry's joining the party. Hey guys, look at me stirring this for Mr. Heath. And you think, oh, that doesn't look like chicken broth, right? So we're gonna take a little, tell me, right there. That doesn't look like chicken broth. All right, so gotta take a little sip. Okay, so one thing I didn't mention earlier is I didn't add salt. And you're wondering, why did I not add salt? Well, because this was a rotisserie chicken, and you can always add salt later. So now what we're gonna do, we got to put our other fancy glove on. I mean, don't you think that looks nice? You like my fancy gloves? All right, so now we're gonna move this baby over here. But before we do that, I just want to show you, you need a colander, something that you can drain all the solids out, and then some kind of pan for all the chicken broth to go into. So that's what we're gonna do right now. Pour all this in here. Oh, look at all that. Oh, yeah. Get her in there. Oh, she's a heavy. Hold on. I got to get some of Harry's help here. Come on, Harry. Let's get all these crusties out. It's got to join the party. Uh-oh. Probably can't see that too good. Just so you know, I just burned my hand because, like, ow. Okay. We'll just have to cut that out. And so right here, you can see all that liquid's going in there. And we're just gonna let that drain. If you could only smell that. That garlic and everything. So I'm gonna let that baby right there drain a little bit after I got that facial from all that steam. So, and then we're gonna work on that baked potato soup I know you've been waiting for. So just because you don't have that chicken broth at home, don't think you can't make it.